Hi folks, hope you're all well out there still. I'm back with another video, and this time it's going to be about Sweet Home 3D. Now this software, it's actually free open source software. It's running Java, so it's cross-platform, so it runs on Windows, Linux and Mac OS. So what the software is actually about is it's free interior design, which helps you draw a plan of your house, arrange furniture on it, and then you can also visit those results in 3D, whether moving around, which I'll show you, taking photos, or even producing a video of the final product. So I don't know if you've had that problem. I've seen why I've actually put the video out now really is because I've seen a few people locally in our community asking, is there anybody that could do 3D kitchen design? Or I, for example, when I had a builder out here, an architect, to come and do the house, I said to him, but do you have any 3D renditioning of what it'll look like? It just looked at me in blank surprise. So I thought, chances are it seems to be you're not always getting somebody that can do it. It's not that difficult to do it yourself. It did take me a little while to put the whole house together and everything. But once it's done, you're really just altering and changing those little things. Like in this case, we did a bathroom. And what I'm showing you here really is just by way of illustration. This is the photo on the left-hand side of the final bathroom. Well, never actually quite final, but it's nearly final. You can see in the photo here that there's tiles here on the back wall as well as the floor, and these are sort of quite unique tiles, so these are not present in the software itself. And on the right hand side was the photo rendition out of the software, and you can see I've got the tiles in there. My wife, by the way, designed this over at the bottom here. She cut these tiles and laid them herself, this part, and of course redid what the plumber had done as well, but that's a whole nother story. So I'm just going to sort of take a tour around the software if you're interested in having a look. If it's a challenge that you're facing that, maybe you want to tackle yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, for example, it may also be of interest to you to possibly learn some of the skills around this, because it could be very, very useful to be able to demonstrate to a client and then make a few changes and whatever. I've got a few little tips and ideas, the things that I had to implement during it. But I'm not going to obviously do a whole how-to tutorial. It's going to be way beyond the length of what I want to do in this video today. So I think I can just point out, if you look at the photo here, this is now a rendition obviously in the software. Look at the detail on the towel. So this is a proper photo rendition, and it's not the view you obviously see while you're moving around the software itself in 3D mode. These are still photos or rendered videos. Also note there in the mirror, for example, it's placed on the wall. You'll see the reflection of the tiles at the back. You're not going to see that obviously when I'm moving around in the 3D view. But before we get into the software, let's just check the website out there. This is Sweet Home 3D's website. They've got a video over here also giving a bit of a demo about what it's available and so on. It is actually open source software. I see there's copyright, but I think the copyright is for the website design. They do bundle on the software. If you look at downloads, you see there is the software for the different operating systems. You can run it as a standalone executable Java, but you'll find it's got some memory limitations and other issues, so it's not always necessarily, especially for the 3D rendering. But apart from that, it runs pretty well. I've run it on Windows and on Linux, and there's another little odd thing that's slightly different, which I'll show you. But just to get an idea also of the models. So these are the free models that come with it, and there's quite a lot in the catalog. I'll just go down so you can have a sort of a fair idea. Obviously, from what you find after this is there's a lot of community submitted models as well. You can produce your own models with things like Blender. In fact, I modified one, just did some simple modifications on one that I had to do. And there's also ones that are for sale that you can purchase. So, again, there's quite a lot of, but you'll find generally a lot of the general stuff you're looking for, you're going to find in these models. I had to make one or two compromises, but that was mainly because I've got one or two unique things that I literally would have to go render myself. And for me, it was more about getting about 85% of it right, just to get the look and feel that I could move around a bit and see what it looked like. That was really all I was after. I wasn't looking for a completely photorealistic view. But it's quite endless. This is like I said, this is the free libraries that come with it. I think there's more than enough here really to satisfy most people. I mean, there was even aircon, so it's not exactly my model, but you know what, I put it on the outside wall and you look at it and you can see it's an aircon. That's all you need to really worry about. I think one can go into a tremendous amount of detail if you want to. What I will show you just briefly how I got those tiles, because they are unique tiles and they're obviously not in these models. So there's a quick trick, sort of just how to import them and get at least that to look correct. I think that's nearly it. And there's obviously a couple of people you can place as well. Here we go. Okay, so that's basically it for the website. So this is the view you're going to see when you've got the software up and running and you've loaded your plan. How I got this plan together in the beginning, let me just see if I can turn off. Can I turn off the 3D view? Okay, I can't see how I can turn the 3D view off. But anyway, this is the view that you actually work in, the plan view. And it's got an aerial or a 3D view at the bottom here. How I started off just to get going was I actually imported a genuine plan, a blueprint plan I had of the house as the ground. I think it was the ground layer or something like that. I just imported that and plonked it on the bottom. And basically I just drew my walls along there because now this is already to scale. So I drew my walls double thick or single thick or whatever the case was over the plan itself. So that was really how I got everything to scale and got it to work. You know, if you don't want to tackle a whole house, you could also just do one room and then just work with that. So there's the aerial view of what the house looks like. You can move it, you can't go all the way in on this view, but you can see, for example, there's some items that are sitting in the ceilings. There's a chandelier over there. It doesn't have roofs. How you would actually do a roof, the trick to do a roof is to create a second layer or a second floor and put slanted walls on, which have got a texture of roof tile. That is the trick if you wanted to put a roof on. I wasn't really too worried about putting the roof on though. So that's aerial view. I tend to work in virtual visit view. And see this little person over here? You can move it back and forth over there. And if you're in this view, you can hold the mouse and turn the view as well. By the way, that's a skylight. It's actually just a window that I placed in the ceiling. But that was how I got the effect of the skylight that I've got on the roof there. And the other little trick, by the way, that recess nook over there, I actually used what they've got as a service hatch. And I put the service hatch into the wall and I just made it less depth than the full wall depth. And that gave me the effect of having that recess in there as well. So there's just two quick tricks as well. These wall finishes, how it works is when you take a room like this and you right click and you can go to modify room. For every room, you've got a floor which can have a texture or just a color. You've got a ceiling with a texture or a color. And then you've also got the various walls along with baseboards. Those are the skirting boards along the bottom. If you've got them, you can put those on as well. So what you're doing here is you really are setting the standard inside wall. What I did over here to get this effect between the standard wall and the tiling that was done inside the shower, I created a second layer with a room at the same height, but it's a small room. The room is only the dimensions here of the actual shower, and I gave that one different walls on the inside. And this is invisible on this side. That's effectively sort of how I did it. So you see there's lots of little tricks and things you'll figure out to make these things happen. And the same thing that happened with this shower glass over here. There isn't a shower glass in the library. So what I used was I used a window. I made a window with no borders, no frames, saved it as an object, and I basically just pulled it in. And I added a plain shower rail up at the top over there. So it's sort of how I got most of this done really. Regarding the tiles, now that's the interesting part. So this floor is also rendered, but unfortunately it doesn't look like I took a very good photo to start with actually. Let me just show you what the photos actually look like. So there's a photo I took of the wall. Actually, this one over here, that was the full photo of the wall. You can see the photo there. Now remember, you could be doing this in a showroom as well. I could have done this in a showroom. You come home and then you cut out or you crop just a piece of the wall, say this size. That's what I did. I cropped that and then I used this as a texture. And let me just show you what I did then with it. Where I've got over here under furniture, I said import a texture. Okay, I chose the photo, or that cropped photo that I'd already taken. I said open. I'm going to keep it unchanged. I will continue. You can see there I've got it. Now the trick here was to set the size of that tile. So in other words, you needed to go and measure those tiles to see that cropped photo. You will specify here that it is 0.2 meters wide and it's, say, 10 centimeters high. That will give you the correct sizing. And when you say finish, it's going to import it into your library. Then you'll be able to actually apply that as a texture against the floor or against the wall. So that's actually what's giving me this effect. If you go a lot closer, let me just go closer in now. You can see that is the real wall. That is a photo texture wall. And if you look at the floor, how you can control this guy is over here. Let me just have a look, sorry. You've got to grab him at the right angles. If you look at the floor, you'll see that is actually also, the other thing is this little thing over there. There we go. And you can go down. You can see it is photorealistic, that floor. It's exactly as the floor is. The only thing I haven't been able to replicate is the jagged blending in between the two types of tiles. Well, I suppose you can actually do it again by doing some sort of a photo rendition and putting it in there. But again, it wasn't that critical for me for the purposes of what I wanted to do. It wasn't that important really to do it. So that really gives the effect. So I've showed the photo already. Let me just show you a video rendition. Oh, the other thing I just wanted to say was, unfortunately, on the version I'm running on Linux, I don't know why it does this. It might be something to do with the setup on the graphics card. You'll see it's not. This is a screenshot I did on the Windows computer. The Windows computer is actually even giving you sort of some rendering of the wooden floors, and you can see the bathroom and so on there. You'll see on the Linux side, it's for some reason it's not doing it. I'm not sure what exactly the problem is. I haven't spent a lot of time on it. But it's not a train smash really, it's just something that I noticed and I thought I'll just point out. They're both the same Java. I'm not sure. It's something to do with, like I said, the NVIDIA graphics rendering some way. So what we can also just have a look at is just quickly how to modify, say, a piece of furniture, just to give you an idea. If I take, for example, this cabinet over here, and we can just go down and let's make the person go up. If I can just get it there. There we go. So if I take that cabinet, you're going to, whatever you want to work on over here in the plan view, you're going to click on it. So in this case, I'll click over there to get the view of the cabinet. It's highlighted in my, what can you call this, bill of materials over here. These are all the various items that I've placed in the house. If I right click on there and say modify furniture, this principle will work essentially the same for everything. This is for furniture types. Windows will be slightly different because they're going to have some other attributes, and stairs and so on as well. So, but like what I can show is here, the location, for example, that's where it's placed physically in the house, left, right, up, down. That XY coordinate is, it's a point from the top left of your plan. In other words, from 0, 0 being top left, it's exactly 10.729 meters downwards on the plan, and it's 12.97 meters to the right on the plan. That's the location there on the plan where that item is. So obviously if you change this, it's going to move here as well. The elevation, it's obviously on the floor, so it'll be 0. You could have it above the floor if you needed to. For example, like the mirror is above the floor as well. It's part of the base plan. You can this is where you're going to choose textures. If it is a plain color, you choose there. If it's a texture, you click on texture and you could choose from all these different textures, and you'll see there's quite a lot. There's just about enough for what, there's my custom texture for the floor. You'll see there's stones, wood, grass, flowers. There's brickwork, old oak. So these textures you can apply to any items. You'll notice obviously some of these are going to be for floors, some of these are going to be for outside, stones, tiles, soil, wooden floor. I think sky's in here as well actually. Doormat. So there's enough textures here. There's the roof ones I talked about as well, corrugated, whatever. So carpet, there's a couple of different carpets as well. Here is the tile ones that I created. You see, I started out by mistake, first of all, bringing the whole picture in, realizing that wasn't going to work. And then I cropped it in and I gave it its sizes and so on. There's the floor one as well. There's the sky. So if I wanted to take, say, let's just take something that's going to look a bit, say like pine. Maybe pine, just illustrate the point. There it is. When I click OK, it will apply. You can also check here if it's a matte or a shiny object, and then shiny obviously is going to give you that reflection in the 3D photos. You can rotate it around these axes over here as well if you want to, literally. So things like stairs and certain other things, you might have to rotate them to certain angles. That's where you'll do it over there. That's the 3 axes. This is the physical size. If you click keep proportions, it'll obviously adjust it in proportion, but otherwise you can adjust just the height, the depth towards the wall, or the width of the item. Another thing just to mention here, prices. You can also allocate a price to every item, and then it's going to obviously add up your bill of materials and tell you what everything cost to do it. So it's, there's quite a few you can do it, use it for basic planning as well. And there you go, it's now a wooden cabinet. So that's really about what I wanted to show on here. What I can do is I can just go back over here and just show you quickly what the view looks like. Okay, that's the, oops, if I go into the lounge. That's really how you can move around if you need to. On 3D view over here, there are also, I can also say there's quite a few plugins as well. So these that you're seeing here are all additional plugins that are not part of the standard software. You can download them from the site and just drop them into a directory. If you want to create a photo, it'll be under Create Photo. And on this you can set the width or the height. The 3D view will actually render exactly what it's seeing here in this 3D view. That's what this one is. Otherwise, you can pick standard ones like square, 4x3 or 16, whatever. It normally renders quite quickly on fast and medium quality here. When you start going up to the higher qualities, it'll be you'll see these additional ones come on here for time of the day and the year and so on, and different lens settings as well. And you can switch on to add ceiling lights. These things take a lot longer to render, but they'll render a very realistic lighting as well, with down lighting or spotlights or bed lamps or whatever the case that's on. So you can get quite high tech with this if you want to. Also on these higher settings, you're going to be getting realistic type furniture. So you won't be seeing this couch just like this. You'll see the actual fabrics and the woods and everything. So this 3D view, you're not seeing the full view. And then to do a video where you say create video, you'll get this view, and wherever you are in the house on the 3D view, say over there, that is where the first pick, it'll stitch this together into a video. So where you are now, you'll say record that, you'll move your little person and rotate and click again for the second position, move the person, rotate if necessary, You can also change the view angle, the height, or whatever you want. You click again, record. You can then play it back, and you'll get the effect of what it's going to be doing like this. And if you're happy with that, you can obviously add more or whatever. You can choose what video format you want it to record in. And again, here's the quality settings. So again, the two bottom settings will be rendered probably with not very good fabric renderings and lighting and that sort of thing. The upper two ones again with lighting. Just bear in mind, this can take 40 minutes to an hour just for a couple of positions. So, you know, that will take a lot longer, and you could also have memory issues at some point. But that's how you do the 3D photo. I will just quickly show a quick video that I did of the bathroom extension. So this was just using the bathroom that I designed, and I was able to then send this movie file by phone to the builder as well to say, this is what we're looking at. You know, can you do this? I'll also put a link up here. There'll be a link to have a look at a video that I did previously for the main alterations to the house, and that was a walkthrough for the whole lounge area and dining room area. Had a wall broken out. We extended the back part of the house, and if you click on this video, it'll show you that video. I then uploaded that to YouTube, and I used some YouTube background music, and that again gave the effect to show the builder what we wanted done with the rear part of the house. So we took the plan and turned it into a 3D view to show him, you know, what we wanted to do. So yeah, I hope that's given an idea of a little bit at least of what Sweet Home 3D can do. It's actually quite a powerful package. I know it's not a professional CAD package, and it's not aimed at that sort of market really, but I think there's an incredible amount that entrepreneurs can do and homeowners can do for completely free of charge. I think the thing it's going to cost the most is going to be some time. It does take a little bit of a learning curve to pick up some of the tricks and tips and techniques, I suppose, and that's what's taken me quite a lot of time. Every time I've wanted to do something, I have had to master a couple of things. I suppose once you've done it, you know, you're probably okay after that. But I've had a lot of fun with the software, and I'm just using it. We're using it over and over again. I'd still like to actually finish the outside of the house and the front of the house just for fun, really. It's quite nice to have a view. There is actually a function it's got on the website. If we look here on the website under the software downloads page, there's something interesting. I haven't tried this, but Sweet Home 3D JS Viewer. So this archive contains the files of a HTML5 WebGL canvas. You can upload on your website to display the 3D view of a Sweet Home 3D file. So that sounds quite interesting. It means that if you have rendered something, you want to demo it and show it off to people or whatever the case is, you can use this. Now that viewer is going to essentially allow people, like I was now moving around the house and looking up and looking down, that's what they'll be able to do with this viewer. And maybe just before I finish, I can also just say there that on the website as well, there's one other thing. If you don't want to install the software, there is a way of also using it online. You can actually use Sweet Home 3D online functionality, and you can do most of what I can do, you can do online in the browser itself actually. So it's another thing you want to try. This thing's quite versatile really. There's quite a lot of things you can do with it. Hope you guys found that interesting and can be of some use to some of you. And stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.